Mordred. Many years passed, and the king and queen lived happily together. Under the king's wise leadership, Camelot prospered, and her people were happy. One day, 4 strangers came to the gates of Arthur's castle. Standing on the parapets with Merlin, he looked down at them. There were 3 women and a boy of about 14. "Who are they?" asked Arthur. "The women are your half-sisters by your father, Uther Pendragon," Merlin told him. "2 of them have come to make peace with you, but the third, Morgan Le Fay, is evil. She seeks your downfall. I hoped never to see her in Camelot." Then Arthur looked at the boy. "Who is he?" he asked. "You don't want to know," Merlin warned, but Arthur insisted. "He is your son by your half-sister Morgause. She was the woman who came to you that night. It was Morgan Le Fay who planned his conception with magic. She will use him against you. He will betray you." Merlin. In all the kingdom, only one creature was capable of catching Merlin's eyes: Nimue, the Lady of the Lake. She was young and immensely beautiful, and like him, she was a creature of magic. The more he gazed upon her, the greater his desire grew, until he was obsessed. He spent every minute of his day courting her or seeking her attention. Merlin, the greatest wizard in the kingdom, was in love. But Nimue was annoyed by his constant advances, and longed to rid herself of him. But she feared what would happen if she rejected him. Instead, she pretended to share his love, using him to teach her his magic and all of his secrets, so that one day she might be free of him. One day, Nimue asked Merlin if they might journey through the forest together so he could teach her more of his magic. Merlin already knew this would be his end, but he was so in love with her he could not resist. Nimue wasted no time on their journey and made sure to learn as many of Merlin's spells as he could teach her. Later that day, they came to a cave which Merlin told her was a place of great power. He would gladly show it to her if she liked. Nimue bid him to enter first. As soon as he did, she cast a spell sealing the mouth of the cave shut. The wizard was trapped. Merlin tried many spells to open the cave mouth again, but the spell Nimue had used was one of his own. Even his great magic could not break it. There she left him, alone and helpless, and some say he remains there to this very day. Lancelot. With Merlin gone, the Lady of the Lake took on the role of Arthur's advisor. Though she had despised Merlin, she liked Arthur, and she held him in great regard for the work he had done to unite Britain. One day, Nimue came to him and asked for a boon. "Take him into your castle and train him in the art of knighthood," she asked, referring to the handsome young man beside her. "Knight him whenever he asks for it." The young man with her was Lancelot du Lac, and Arthur could see he had the promise of a great fighter. He agreed, and the lady took her leave. Lancelot asked to be knighted that very evening. Arthur was surprised he wanted to be knighted so soon, but Lancelot was sure he was ready. Arthur agreed, and the following morning the ceremony took place. There was a great celebration, and all the palace cheered. After he was knighted, Lancelot asked to be the Queen's champion. This would make it his royal duty to protect the Queen and defend her honor. Guinevere was flattered and accepted. In the battles that followed, Lancelot proved to be an excellent knight. His skill with the sword was unparalleled by any in Camelot, and he quickly rose the ranks to become Arthur's finest knight. But more than that, he and Arthur became good friends, and for a time he, Arthur, and the Queen were inseparable. Then, one day, Lancelot was gone. The king and queen tried very hard to search for him, but no one in the kingdom knew his whereabouts. Many years passed, but Arthur and Guinevere never stopped thinking of their friend or wondering what had become of him. Then, one day, Lancelot returned. He had become pale and ragged, but it was unmistakably him. When Arthur asked what had happened, he had a long tale for him. While he had been gone, Lancelot told Arthur he had come to the city of Corbenic. Corbenic was ruled by a king named Pelles, the Fisher King. While he was there, the city came under attack by a ferocious dragon. The people had fled in terror, but Lancelot stayed and fought the monster to its death. He used his shield to protect himself from its fire and stabbed it with his sword until it was dead. When he emerged victorious, the people cheered him. As a reward, King Pelles held a feast in his honor. At the feast, King Pelles said to him, "Now you will see something no other knight has seen." With that, 3 servants entered the room. The one in the middle was holding the Holy Grail, the sacred cup from which Jesus Christ had drunk during the Last Supper. King Pelles told him, "The cup was passed down to me by my forebear, Joseph of Arimathea." Arthur dismissed this as trickery, but Lancelot swore he had really seen the Grail. But there was more, Lancelot told him. He had seen the Grail, but he was denied it because of his impure love for another man's wife, Arthur's queen, Guinevere. Arthur could not bear to hear this, but Lancelot begged him to listen. All those years ago, it was Guinevere whom he truly loved. His jealousy had driven him insane, and after leaving Camelot, he had lived in the woods as a madman. After he came to Corbenic and defeated the dragon, King Pelles gave him his daughter, Elaine. Elaine was very beautiful, and she loved him very much, but his heart belonged to Guinevere. Desperate for him, she pursued him relentlessly and used magic to snare him. Together they had had a son, whom they christened Galahad. When Lancelot found out what she had done, he ran away, disgusted with the deception. As the 2 men were speaking, they were quickly summoned to the river, where a large barge had washed ashore, carrying a dead woman's body. When they arrived, Lancelot looked at the woman and then turned away quickly. It was Elaine. She had committed suicide.